It was my last one, and man, have we been busy? Breaking news: Governor Waltz just got subpoenaed, and five others. We're gonna be talking about how the protesters swarmed a Christian church because their eyes director was a pastor there. We're gonna be talking about Brooklyn Park police officer that was off duty and got weapons pointed at by ICE officials. So we're gonna have a good show today. It'll be about an hour long. Just give you the heads up. Thank you for everybody watching me on Kick. Thank you for everybody watching me on YouTube, and thank you for everybody watching me on Twitch and all the other social medias. Remember to follow. I post the content of what's happening on my pages: GMB Pod, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. But I kind of stopped posting on TikTok. It's too soft for me. Like everything gets hidden. I don't like that. And thank you for everybody following me in Instagram. Almost 20,000 followers. Can you believe it? Crazy, almost 20 million views. Appreciate everybody following me. Appreciate every single one of you guys. This platform, I've said it before, it's not all left, it's not all right. I'm like right in the middle. I agree with some things Trump does, and I disagree with a lot of things he does as well. But that's enough about me. Let's get with the show. So on Sunday, these people raided this Christian church because one of the ICE field director was a pastor there. I don't want to say his name because I forgot his name, but anyway. So they went over there to protest. The thing is, my issue with this is, imagine right now it's I guess there would be a BLM, but I think that's something sacred, like where you go. Like it's nice that we all have different opinions, and I get what they were trying to do by saying that, you know, if we can't have our peace, you guys can't have your peace either in any place, you know, especially because he's a pastor. But that's God's house, you know, whether you're atheist or you're religious or Muslim and stuff like that. Because this could get scary, because now imagine if a Christian raided a Muslim temple or vice versa. You know, it's setting up a stage that I think the government's going to have to act. And I heard that they're getting investigated for this, for the FACE Act, where you're supposed, you know, where First Amendment, is protected, where you in a house of prayer, and these guys are supposed to get in trouble. Anyway, I played the video.
Operation Pull Up, more of a clandestine operation. We show up somewhere that is a key location. They don't expect us.
And a lot of black content creators are going against this guy. He's really getting cooked. And I guess she's the spokesperson that was for BML when the George Floyd riots.
To come there, and then we disrupt business as usual. So that's what we're about to go do right now.
But I get what they're trying to do, right? I get it, because, you know, they've been feeling oppressed and all that. But I don't think that was not a good idea for them to go inside church. Because these people, okay, I get it that the ICE field director is the pastor there, but these people haven't, you know, there were kids there. You know, I'm a Christian, right? If they can protest, you know, where I'm at on a Sunday, I'll be on guard, you know, what's going on, especially how dangerous this world is. Like, I wouldn't know, like, they came here to protest and all that. I would think maybe we're getting attacked or something like that, you know? So I don't think maybe they did it outside, you know? I kind of see it, but when they went inside, I think they crossed boundaries there, and I don't like that, you know? Like I said, like that's a place of worship, whether you're atheist or you believe in, you know, you're Muslim, whether you're Jew or whatever, you know, a church is sacred, you know, And I don't think this was the right move because there was a lot of kids here, as you can see.
Demanding justice for Renee Good.
I heard this guy over here, I think what they call him, the farmer or something, he got arrested. I saw a video of him getting arrested later on. And federal prosecutors actually went over there to Minnesota yesterday. They landed there last night, something like that. And they're going to build case against all the people that raided the church. Because it also it's a civil rights case now, supposedly.
Pretend to be a house of God while harboring someone who is directing ICE agents to wreak havoc upon our community and who killed Renee Good, who almost killed a 6-month-old baby. Enough is enough. I am a reverend on top of being a lawyer and an activist. So I come here in the power of the...
Okay, but if you're a reverend, you know the house of God is sacred. You know? I don't agree with this move at all because you're disturbing their prayer, you know, their time with God. You know, like I get it. If you want to protest, maybe you could have done it outside, you know, but not like a mass. Because maybe those people, yeah, okay, that's the guy's job, right? I don't agree with it, right? But that's his job, you know, the ICE field director. If you protest, even if you. See, I don't get why they will protest at his church because he's a pastor, right? When he has no authority to change the laws. He has no authority to stop the raids. Because he's just being told what to do. If you want to change it, then we have to do this in the ballot box. You know, we have to vote policy into it, you know, vote people that we want them to change the laws for. You doing this is not going to stop the ICE raids because he has no power over that. If he stops the ICE raids, right, or he interferes, he's about to go to jail, right? Because it counts from the president to Kristi Noem. Like I said, I don't agree with that. Well, ICE raids, like targeting just everybody out the street. I do agree with them maybe doing, you know, how they said they were going to do in the beginning, targeted enforcement. You know, people with essay crimes, people with aggravated felonies and all that. Okay, go get them. You know, like the Minnesota fraud thing, they stole $9 billion. All right, go ahead. I don't agree. My issue is when they're picking up people from the street or people who are working and contributing to society. You know, when they're not doing fraud, they're just, they didn't come here the right way, right? But they're being protected members of society in a way. They're not leeching off the system. Then you know, I do agree that there should be some sort of legal pathway for them. But people, you know, if they are doing target enforcement, you know, where they're picking up people with felonies, aggravated felonies, where they're picking up people who be scamming, people who be leeching out the system, then I do agree, go get them. You know, but this is not the right move because there's a lot of Christians are gonna have something to say about this, and then you just give them another weapon, you know, another weapon to use against the immigrants. You know, they're making you guys seem like kind of crazy, you know, because even though this is still a Christian country, most people are Christian. Yeah, I know there's a lot of people who move from the faith and all that, but it's still a Christian country, whether you're Catholic or, you know, Baptist, whatever.
The Almighty God.
Tell us why you're doing this.
This is Operation Pull Out, more of a clandestine.
David Easterwood, because that's the ICE field director. That's not the guy though. That David Easterwood was bald. I don't want to push. See, all these people went there for a service, a Christian service. Actually, they kind of just, you know, they have no. It's not their fault that the pastor, that's his career. You know, that was not the right move.
There is a pastor here. He is also the director of the field office for ICE in St. Paul. So someone who claims to worship God, teaching people in this church about God, is out there overseeing ICE agents.
I understand that, but like I said, you can't blame him. That's his job. Like what my issue with ICE agents is when they're arresting people aggressively. You know, like the videos we've seen. You know, where they're breaking people's windows, like or escalating things, like that video I showed you guys where they stopped the guy coming out of his house. He ended up being a citizen, and then he escalated more by calling him a stupid bee and whatever, you know. And then when that since he was a citizen, he has Second Amendment right to bear arms. He had a concealed carry permit and all that. And then the ICE agent was like, "Oh, you got a gun, huh?" It's like that. I have an issue with that. You know, when they're not acting professional and they're just picking up people out from the street. You know, but if they're doing targeted enforcement, where they're picking up, you know, people with SA crimes, child crimes, and all that stuff, then yeah, go pick them up. And I think everybody would be, you know, I don't think anybody would be like, no, don't pick them up, right? Because they had an opportunity to be productive in our society, and instead of that, they started committing crimes. You know, like Somalis. You know, unfortunately, you know, some of them. I'm not saying all of them, but some of them were leeching out the system and were defrauding the government. That's not right. Like I said, Governor Waltz and all that, when they found out about the fraud, they should have been on top of it and lined them up. You know, yeah, our bad that this fraud happened in our watch, but we're making it right. Look, all these people. This guy stole $2 million. Line them up. And then I don't think this would have been such a big issue in Minnesota. But they didn't do it. You know, they seem kind of weak. They just got subpoenaed today. And a couple of, like 30 minutes ago, the news just came out. The government subpoenaed Governor Waltz and 5 other officials for obstructing ICE. Like I said, when that fraud thing came out, they should have just gotten on top of it and sent their own investigators, pick everybody up who defrauded the government, and you know, and they would have seen tough on crime, but they didn't do that. You know, so I don't know, man. Like I said, my issue with ICE agents is that when they're misusing their power, when they're picking up citizens. I just saw a video where this guy was in his house and they took him out in boxers. Where's it? Is it up here? No, I posted it. Oh, thank you, Victoria. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Oh, this one. So this one. They raided this guy's home, right? Oh my gosh, I'm lagging.
Here, this guy's chasing me here.
What's wrong with Facebook? Oh, what's going on?
Here, this guy's chasing me here.
Okay. Somehow this... Why just happened? What just happened? My bad.
What do you guys want?
Okay, it's working now. I don't know what happened, to be honest. My bad. Okay, where were we? Sorry for the interruption. My bad. Oh, this guy. Okay, so this guy, and then we're back to it. Everybody was apparently 2 people in this house were supposed to. I just went there to look for 2 people, but they didn't have the judicial warrant, from what I heard, right? Allegedly. But this guy was taking a shower, and this guy actually has no criminal record, right? He was not the person that they were looking for, and he was taking a shower. This was on Sunday when it was -9 in Minnesota. Look how many agents there are, right? All these agents, and they couldn't give him the courtesy, right? To let him put clothes on. He's on his boxers, -9 weather. And I know what they're gonna say. Well, they have to make sure that everybody has to go in cuffs because it's the raid. Okay. Are you that scared that you can't let this guy put clothes on? It ended up being that this guy was not the person they were looking for. He's a U.S. citizen, and they couldn't give him the courtesy to let him put clothes on. The two individuals they were looking for were not there, right? Once they figured that out, right, they could have just given the courtesy to. This is negative night weather, and I know that people are gonna say, well, it's just like a 20-second walk to the car. Okay, you guys are professionals. Once you guys saw that there was no danger for everybody's lives, right? Because they put a blanket on him. What's another 10 seconds for them to put his pants and his shirt? Maybe a sweater. That's my issue. I have no issue with ICE targeting, they were targeting the SA offenders, the child offenders, whatever. That's fine. But it's a way to do things. People are saying everybody's demonizing ICE. They're doing it to themselves when we see things like this. Unnecessary things. Have you ever seen any raids? I was looking on YouTube. I was trying to see if there was any raids like this that's happened, where they pick up the individual and they don't let him put clothes on. I wasn't able to find a video like that. Like I said, I have no issue with people getting ICE doing target enforcement. People that really that don't need to be here, right? That are committing felonies, defrauding, and that's fine. My issue is when they're targeting just random people, right? And one of those random people, right before I went on live, the news came out that ICE targeted an off-duty officer in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. I guess when they target her, because she's not, white. Because I guess they could profile us now because the Supreme Court said it was fine. My issue is if ICE is doing target enforcement, then that's fine. They're looking at people who have committed felonies, aggravated felonies, like crimes against kids and all that. Get them out of here. I agree with that. But when you just randomly stopping people, it's just because the way they look at me. I'm brown. I have no criminal record. I'm a law-abiding civilian. If I get harassed like that, obviously I'm gonna feel some type of way, right? And I've seen videos where they're like, you know what? We're looking for this individual, blah, 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 blah. They look like this car. Okay, do I look like the individual you're looking for? So that's my issue. But now, Brooklyn Park police officer got stopped. He or she was off duty and ICE pointed weapons at them.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Mark Ruley, Police Chief of the City of Brooklyn Park. Behind me is a bunch of amazing police chiefs that are here in support of a very short but very important message that we want to share with you. What you won't hear from any of us today is rhetoric of abolish ICE or that there shouldn't be immigration enforcement. The truth is, immigration enforcement is necessary for our national security and for local security. But how it's done is extremely important.
That's what I'm saying. There's a way to do things. There's the right way and the lazy way. That's what he's trying to say. Like, he repeated it. He knows that it's important to do immigration enforcement, but there's a way to do things.
Or that there shouldn't be immigration enforcement. The truth is, immigration enforcement is necessary for our national security and for local security. But how it's done is extremely important. In fact, we have a long history of working exceptionally well with our federal partners, including ICE agents, and we have seen the best of them perform their job extremely well in the past. With that said, recently, as the last 2 weeks, we, as law enforcement community, have been receiving endless complaints about civil rights violations in our streets from U.S. citizens. What we're hearing is they're being stopped in traffic stops or on the street with no cause and being forced to demand paperwork to determine if they are here legally. As this went on over the past 2 weeks, we started hearing from our police officers the same complaints as they fell victim to this while off duty. Every one of these individuals is a person of color who has had this happen to them. In Brooklyn Park, one particular officer that shared her story with me was stopped as she passed ICE going down the roadway. When they boxed her in, they demanded her paperwork, of which she's a U.S. citizen and clearly would not have any paperwork. When she became concerned about the rhetoric and the way she was being treated, she pulled out her phone. In an attempt to record the incident, the phone was knocked out of her hands.
It's being proven that you could record police. Constitutional, the Supreme Court said that.
Prevented.
That's what I'm saying. There's a way to do things, and these ICE agents are just acting too aggressive. Some of them, you know. I've seen videos where they're really nice and they're very professional. But you know, most of the new guys
From recording it.
really aggressive.
The officer had their guns drawn during this interaction. And after the officer became so concerned, they were forced to identify themselves as a Brooklyn Park police officer in hopes of slowing the incident and de-escalating the incident down. The agents then immediately left after hearing this, making no other comments, no other apologies, just got in their vehicles and left. I wish I could tell you that this was an isolated incident. In fact, many of the chiefs standing behind me have similar incidents with their off-duty officers. This isn't just important because it happened to off-duty police officers, but what it did do is we know that our officers know what the Constitution is, they know what right and wrong is, and they know when people are being targeted, and that's what they were. If it is happening to our officers, it pains me to think of how many of our community members are falling victim.
And they only backed away because she said she was a cop. There's a way to do things. Like I said, I understand there has to be immigration enforcement. You know, they're picking up people who are really like SA crimes, child crimes, defrauding the system. Because you and I pay taxes. Of course, go get them. Pick them up. But not people just randomly off the street, just based on their skin color. Because, you know, believe it or not, there's Mexicans everywhere. This country was made of immigrants, you know? I don't agree with them picking up people like I understand that they came illegally, but they came for a better way of life, right? They contributed, they paid taxes with the IT numbers. Like, they're being productive members of society. I do agree with targeted enforcement from ICE, like picking up of the people who have committed hideous crimes. But I don't agree with them picking up just anybody based on the skin color, you know, especially U.S. citizens, because I thought this was the land of the free. When it was COVID times, right? Republicans, this is what I don't get. When it was COVID times, Republicans were losing their minds over wearing masks. They were protesting, oh, government overreach. You know, the government can't tell us to wear masks, this and that. Kristi Noem came the other day, and she's like, you know what? U.S. citizens have to be prepared to prove citizenship. Am I the only one that's tweaking? What is that? When was COVID? 6 years ago? 6 years ago, Republicans were losing their minds over masks. That it was government overreach, unconstitutional. It was not in the Constitution. It was against the Constitution for the government to make everybody wear masks. Kristi Noem says U.S. citizens have to be prepared to prove citizenship. Make it make sense. You know, this is the land of the free. You know, a lot of soldiers lost their lives in World War II to protect the free world. You know? For us to be in a place where you have to be worried about carrying papers and this and that, it's like a cage. If you're doing targeted enforcement and you know who you're picking up, yeah, go get them. But just stopping everybody just for the off chance that they're illegal. Oh, and then people are like, well, it just takes 2 seconds. The Constitution, unreasonable search and seizures. There's videos where ICE agents arrest U.S. citizens in their own backyard. Let me show you one right here. Oh, I'm not even mentioning the Native Americans.
There was 4 tribal members.
They picked up 4 Native Americans the other day. They released one of them. They lost the other 3.
Who were picked up by ICE in a community called Little Earth right here in Minneapolis.
There's nobody more American
And one of them
than a Native American.
couldn't locate the other 3. So the council members here, they're all elected officials of the Oglala Sioux tribe, and they gained access to the facility and they couldn't find their 3 tribal members. They're not. They claim that they're not classifying them by their nationality, which tribal members are also citizens of the United States since 1924. You know, there's nobody more American than American Indians, but they were unable to find them here today. And
So that's my issue. If you're doing target enforcement, that's fine. Go get the people you're targeting. You know, they do child crimes, have Trump says. If they defy the system like some Somalis did, go get them. But you just having swarming 3,000 ICE agents into the streets and let them have free reign of picking everybody up that may look foreign. That's when I have an issue. Because we're the leaders of the free world. People look up to us and see freedom. When they see this, then we're no better than Russia. Like I see Russia videos, like, you know, where they're picking up people for protesting. Like, this is not right. There's a way to do things. Like I said, if it's targeted enforcement, go ahead, do your thing. But if you're just picking up random people, let me see. And this one with the guys in his yard. No, yeah, this one. This guy. Obviously, this guy's in his yard, right? The driveway. Man, his own business. Border Patrol and ICE agent come. And you can see over here, there's like a fence area. He's in his private property. Why are you bothering him in his private property? Unreasonable search and seizures. He says, this is border enforcement. Okay. I understand if you're doing like a checkpoint, right? If I'm driving through like my car for a checkpoint, then I agree. You know, you ask him questions like, you know what, are you a citizen? Then fine, whatever. But if you're just walking around, you see this guy in his yard, he looks foreign to you. He said because his accent. Bro, I could tell you're Mexican heritage. You have an accent like I have an accent. And you pick him up from his yard?
Where are you safe?
Look, sir, you're going to do this the easy way, or are we going to take you in?
You cannot take me in.
Yes,
I'm
I
in my
can.
private.
Yes, I can.
Do
Do you have documentation?
I do.
He's in his own driveway. That's my issue. This guy is in his own driveway. If you're, like I said, if you're doing immigration enforcement and you do like what's it called? Like if you do like a setup point, right? And cars are going through and you're asking them for the citizenship, then yeah, go ahead. But my issue is when you're just walking around fishing. I call it fishing because you're just looking at everybody who's foreign, that looks foreign to you. This guy say because his accent. Bro, I hate to break it to you. You have the same accent as I do. Let me see your papers. This guy's in his yard.
My documentation.
You present it to me,
Why are
please.
you asking me for my paperwork?
He's in his own driveway. They want video recording. This border patrol is just walking around. That's not target enforcement. That's fishing. That's fishing, and then you end up being that this guy's actually a U.S. citizen. And people are like, we're not required to prove citizenship if you're a citizen. Right? If you're doing an immigration checkpoint, then yeah, they're driving by. Hey, sir, are you a U.S. citizen? Yes or no? They answer whatever the answer it is. If they're not and you pick them up, then all right, it is what it is. But when you're just fishing, walking in neighborhoods, driving in neighborhoods, this guy's in his driveway. They want the video recording. And you're asking him for a citizen in his own home? The Constitution says no unreasonable search and seizures. So are we following the Constitution? I feel like that's like
Because
oppression.
of your accent.
It's your accent. He says,
You have an accent too.
Where were you born, sir?
he's like, you have an accent too.
Where
That's
were you
true.
born at?
Put your hands behind your back.
Look, You can see the fence right here. You see? That guy was inside his yard, his property. I have an issue against that. He ended up being a U.S. citizen. They let him go later. They dropped him off somewhere. This guy goes in here. He's in his own property. That's what I have an issue with. That's what I have an issue with. Let's see. Oh, they picked us some Somalis, huh? I forgot to post this. Yeah, they picked us some Somalis today. I don't know what he's saying. I don't speak some. They do like in cargo vans. The little beard and all that. Like I said, they're doing target enforcement. I have no issue with. I have an issue when they're just fishing for people. Like a quota. I don't know what they're saying. Yeah. Governor Waltz and fathers got in subpoenaed for immigration enforcement obstruction. I think this guy cooked. The government's going after them. I personally haven't seen anything about them. See if it's on YouTube. Find the news. Subscribe to my channel, please, and thank you, Governor Waltz. If you see things, it's because my kids watch Subpoena. Oh, can't spell today. Oh, nobody's posted it. Oh, was that the first one to report that? Oh, yeah.
Jonathan Hunt of the Ground of Minneapolis with more. Interesting that it was a white guy who was making all those accusations about white people.
Of course, Fox News would have it.
And John, before we get to that, I want to get to the breaking news we have just heard. The FBI has apparently just served subpoenas to several officials here in Minneapolis, including members of the office of Governor Tim Waltz. We will bring you more information as we get it on.
But it's crazy how they're not subpoenaing them for the fraud, the subpoena for the immigration
on those
obstruction.
Meantime, the number of protesters out here at the federal building is diminishing every day, it seems. But the war of words between local officials and the Trump administration is only getting stronger. The latest flashpoint, as you mentioned, that protest at a St.